recording. All right, so good evening, everybody. I don't know. I sound excited, right? So this evening, I'll I I've, I think I've always been saying that the class is not going to last long, and then it's always lasting up to I don't know why. But I think today's class is not going to last very very long because I just want to talk about one thing, and then we'll go into I will just show us a preview of the project, and then I'll just mention some few things about to be about to join the project. All right. So I'm talking about positioning. All right. So positioning is something. So all right. So what I want to do now is that I will show us a site that I'm currently working on. All right. All right. So and then I will use that to explain positioning. All right. So you can see this. So I saw this and I was trying to recreate it. Normally, sorry for that. Normally, there's a flow. If you're in yesterday's class or if you've watched it, there's a flow of elements in HTML, right? So they are arranged one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, right? But when you check this site, you see that it's not looking one after the other, right? Meaning that this guy is overlapping, is staying on top of another element, all right? So and you might have probably seen this a lot in some websites like that. Maybe you have the hero section like the one on top, and then something is on top of it. All right, so how do you do this? And that's what we'll learn about today. All right, so that's what positioning is used for. All right, so I'll just briefly explain that, and then we'll be done for tonight. All right, so I just from yesterday's class, I have two paragraphs. All right, this is first, this is two. All right, I can just change it to second. All right, so and then I linked my style sheet. Okay, and then there's nothing in my style sheet currently. Right, and then we can check what we have. All right, so we just have this. Okay, so what I will do now is that I will, sorry for that. Oh, okay, so I will just give this styles. All right, so I will do, I don't know, can I still get the styles for yesterday? All right. So I want to remove these styles that we did yesterday, right? And then let's see what we have. Okay, so we have this. Okay, but I want to change the color of the second one, right? So I set this to first is ID of first, and then ID of second. All right. So remove the background color. Okay. So for first, I'm gonna have a background color of this color, and then for second, right, I'm gonna have a background color of brown. All right, so let's see what we have. Okay, so we have this. Then I think uh I will just remove this. Okay, or okay, this is actually what I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create one that is straight, and then the other one is on top. So what do I do? I think I can add more text to this. That's pretty a lot of text, bro. Awesome. So this is exactly what I'm trying to create. All right. So what so positioning. Now you can see that this is the current flow of this guy, right? So what I want to do is that I want to move this element. You might have a need to move this guy to be on top of this guy, and then probably to be in the middle too. Okay. And then we can't use flex here because it's only one element that we want to move, right? So I want to position this guy. Okay. So when you come into your CSS, all right, I second I'm trying to position. If you're using Visual Studio Code, it's very very helpful for you, right? So these are the various position attributes that we can have, right? So we have absolute. I want us to read this. So the box position and possibly the side is specified with the top, right, bottom, and left property, right? This property specify offset with respect to the box containing block. All right, I will explain what that means. All right, and then we have fixed. The box position is calculated according to the absolute model, but in addition, the box is fixed with respect to some reference. Okay, so and then we have relative. All right, and then we have static. Okay, and then we have sticky. All right, so the normal flow of every element is static. So every element has a position of static, meaning that they are on the normal flow, right? But when I set this element to absolute, all right, so I set the second one to absolute. Let's start from absolute, all right? Uh, so nothing is currently affected. So when you set something to absolute, what that means is that then you can use these various attributes, all right? So left, and then we have bottom, right? So you can use these various attributes to position them, right? But what does relative, what does absolute, what all those things, what do they mean? All right. So when something is in absolute, all right. So when I set this to zero, right? So it takes a value like this, zero, right? So what absolute does is that it takes the element out of the normal flow, all right, and then it puts the element, it makes the elements like the element neglect all the other elements. So it's like this element is the first one. Okay, I hope you understand that. So it's doing as if this element is like there's no other element on this guy except this element. All right, so it's taking it inside the body. All right, so that's absolute. All right, you see what happens when you set it to relative. Okay, so when you set it to relative, right? So what relative does is that it puts it in, absolute is it takes it out of the other element, all right? But what relative does is that relative to its original position, all right? So if the top is set to zero, right? So it will still be at its normal position, all right? So what is saying that relative to where the stuff is supposed to be, absolute is it will neglect everything, right? But relative means that relative is to where it's supposed to be before, right? So that's where it's going to place the element, right? So then I can set it, I can just do probably 50%, all right, and then for top, all right. So top is actually talking about the distance up, right? So let's say I set it to minus 50%. It's not really giving me what I want it to give me. I don't know why. Is oh sorry. Is there something wrong? Let me set left to 50%. That should push it to, all right. So you see what left did to it, right? So left is pushing it 50% from where it's supposed to be before, right? So you can just play with the values, right, to see what's going to happen. So let me try maybe 100% or something and see if it will. It's not affecting it, but let me show you how top works, right? So let me change this to absolute, and then you can see how top works. All right. So you see that normally when the top is set to zero, all right, so let me set this to 50%, it's pushing it down too much, right? So when the top was set to zero and then it was on absolute, you see that it was by this corner, all right? So absolute is this, right? But when I set it to 50%, right, so top is going to talk about the distance from the top, right? So it's going to put a distance between it, all right? So you can just play with the value to set it at exactly where you want, all right? So that's that, right? So that's that about absolute. So you can just play with the values, right? So if you want to push it, instead of using left, if you want to push it to the right, right? So you add right, all right, and then you add maybe 70%, all right. So what happens? It pushes it to the right like this, all right. So and then so let me set it to relative, and then I think I know the reason why it was not working, right? So it was here, right? So it pushed it. Now it has even gone out of. We can't even see it again, right? So let me do this. So it's this guy that is pushing it this right. So it's pushing it far from. So it's back here now, all right? So we can see the elements now. So it's back here, all right? So what I want to do is when I set the top, you'll see that it was not pushing it, all right? It was not working. So if I want to push it up, right? So what I do is I set the bottom value, right? So let's change this to bottom, okay? It's still not affecting it. I think for relative, it won't affect it because it's trying to push it inside the box, all right? But let me put, let me be sure. Oh, sorry for this. And then I'm taking longer time. All right. So you see that when I apply the pixel, right? So what is doing that is pushing it from the bottom, right? So it's pushing it up, right? I wanted to show that you could use a negative value too. All right. So let's see whether this will work now. All right. So and then let's use a negative value, right? So when I used a negative value for so negative of the top is acting as the same as if I put bottom, right? So you could use a negative value too. I don't know why the percentage is not working. So you can use any unit um of CSS to do, pixel, rem, and all those kind of things. All right. Now I don't know if you've been to some site, all right, and then when you scroll, the navbar is still by the top, and then all the other elements are scrolling under it. All right. So how do you do that? What you do is that you set the element to sticky, right? So let me do the navbar, right? So the sticky, all right? So when you use sticky, the element is removed from the floor, right? So the element stays where it's supposed to stay normally, right? But when you scroll the other element, all right, it stays. No, why is it not staying? Let's check. It's sticky, right? Or is it static? Let's confirm. It's not supposed to scroll. All right. So let's see. Position. The box is a normal box laid out according to the normal flow. All right. So like I said, the top, right, bottom, and left properties do not apply. All right. So it's not that static. All right. What's sticky? The box position is calculated according to the normal flow. Then the box is offset relative to its flow route and contain and in all cases and does not affect the position of any other box. Let's see. I've saved this. It's not supposed to scroll actually. Let's see. Let's see. What exactly is the issue here? We have nav. All right. Let's remove this. Let me see if that's what affecting it. No, that's not what's affecting it. Okay. Sticky. All right. Oh, I don't know why it's not staying. All right. Well, let me just play with some other values. Let's see. Let's see. Static. Oh, static is the normal flow, right? Static is the way it's supposed to be, but sticky is what. So let's see. top 0. All right, I guess. Okay, awesome. Now it's working. All right. So can you see what just happened now? It's because I didn't set the top values. All right. So I didn't set where it's going to get stuck. All right. So you set the top to 0. Right. So that any other element that you scroll under, the element is still going to stay on top. All right. So the element is still going to stay on top, and then every other element that you have will scroll under it. All right. So that, if you are going to gone to some site and then they have those kind of nav bar, like that, it stays and then you can scroll and then the nav bar stays, and then I think this site has it. All right, so something like this. All right, so that you have this and then the stuff can just scroll up. All right, can you see? All right, so you use sticky, all right, to let it stay at its position. All right, and then you set the top to 0. All right, so I think that's all I want to say this night. Let me check if there's another position value. All right, let me see. But I think those are the commonly used ones. All right, sticky. In all these ones are just initially, is like take what it was initially, like what the value is initially. So I think I've talked about all the values that you could use for it. Right. So do you have any question for me before I go to the project? All right. Before I go to the project, like before questions, just send questions. We have questions. Right. So this is what we'll be doing also. Because if you can do this, you can create one for yourself. All right. And then you can just make this your portfolio site. All right. I hope you can see this. Awesome. All right. So this is what the project will be. All right. So basically what you do is, you might not, you have this section. All right. So this is a section. All right. And then you have this background picture. All right. And then you put the nav inside the background. All right. You have the image. You can have a div here. All right. That has the image and then this text here. All right. And then you have a list. All right, and then you put this list inside. All right, and then you have this. Okay, and then you can display this top, this section, you put it inside a div or something. All right, and then you can display it as flex. Okay, so this, you now set maybe this guy to take flex, or to take maybe flex of 3, and then these others can take 1 1, or it takes 4. All right, and then you have another section here, this guy here. Don't really bother about this guys here. Don't bother about this. All right, so and then you have this section. Okay, so this is like the border, right? So this is the border. You paint it white, right? And then you set the width of the border to be small, only border top to have this. Okay, and then you have maybe H1 here, maybe a paragraph, and then this is a button, right? And then you style the button, you set the background to be none, and then you add this text inside. You set the border radius to be this. If you have any question now, so please send it as I continue talking. All right, and then you have another section. Okay, and then you create this. You find icons. You first have heading, maybe heading 2 or something. All right, and then you display these guys as flex. Okay, you display them as flex. All right, and then for this gallery, you can do the same for this. All right, so you have this. I will send a link where you can read more on flex, on how to do this. All right, so you can use flex to create this. All right, so you can use flexbox to lay this out. Okay, and then this guy, you can use flexbox, then you set margin in between. All right, and then you can do this. Okay, and then this about me, you just have 3 paragraphs. All right, and then you can use margin to shift this middle paragraph to this side. All right, and then you can use positioning for this picture. You set the height. Okay, what you can do is that you can put this picture inside this. It's not compulsory that I use positioning. You can put this picture inside there, and then when it's inside there, the overflow will be hidden so that it won't show that the person will have to scroll. So you can just set overflow to show, right? So that this picture will extend more than this, right? So you can do this if you want to do, but you can neglect this, okay? Okay, so you now have the form part, okay? So you do a form, right? And then you start the input, you start the button, and then you have the footer, right? So I will send a link to of this to the group, right? And then you develop it, right? So any question? Any question at this point? Eh? Did everybody just leave? Any question? Let me just stop the recording now.